And welcome to our next session with Andrei Negrau. Andrei, nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Nice to meet you, Brian. I'm doing great. I'm in
Uh,
sunny or not so sunny New York. I'm actually in my small cave here in WeWork, and I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well, but let me turn the attention to you and your company. So you are the co-founder of Siena AI, who just
That's
raised a
CX. Yeah,
CX.
CX.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, I see
And it's
that. I
Sienna
think
AI. Yeah.
it's Siena. Sorry, I want to get this right. The product is
Yeah,
Siena AI, but the website is
exactly.
Siena.cx, and the company is Siena.cx.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay,
exactly.
so you guys just raised a round of funding just recently. Congrats, that's awesome and
Yeah.
exciting.
Thank you. Yes, yes, we did.
Who are the investors and like what was that process like in short form? I assume
Do you want to
pretty
spend
exciting.
the whole meet?
I
We can.
don't, but I'm just curious on like has this kind of
Oh
been a
man.
long time coming, or was this like always the goal here?
Uh, Well, I mean, the goal for us was from the early days of starting Sienna last, summer 2022. We knew that there's going to be a point in time where customer service is going to look different, and somehow we made this bet that AI is going to transform customer service. And keep in mind, this was happening. Summer 2022 is way before ChatGPT came
Hmm.
to be, but we were one of the first companies to bet on generative AI even back then. And so we always viewed customer service as almost like the last standing like the last standing leg of everything being automated except customer service. Like so you look across the board and Shopify took essentially uh engineering, like they took like engineering heavy load and they built a beautiful product that anyone can use and can set up a store in like a few minutes. And you can look across the board from logistics and different areas of the commerce and business space. But then customer service was obviously already, like you had chatbots, but it was not something that people really heavily used for automating. Like it was not like
Yeah.
a common standard. So we bet on the fact that there's gonna be a moment in time with Sienna starting, where you have like an intelligent empathic agent that starts to do some of the tasks that agents are doing, and in some ways they're doing better, in some ways still need to learn. And so for that, we knew that you do need resource for that. You do need capital.
Yeah.
Although we were bootstrapped and we had a little bit of capital and we had some really great angel investors in the beginning,
Hmm.
we started early conversations for the seed round. Actually, in the beginning of the year, and I would say, just to sum it up, it was an interesting process because ChatGPT came out and everyone, like every investor was like, they didn't really know what to think because ChatGPT came out and they're like, yeah, well, why would we
Yeah.
invest in Sienna when ChatGPT is here? But then on the
Right.
other hand, they saw the traction and they saw the results that we were bringing in. So eventually we found the right partners. We partnered with Sierra Ventures as a
Hmm.
lead investor. They're based in San Francisco in Silicon
Yeah.
Valley, and but it was an oversubscribed round. We had to say no to a bunch of really awesome folks, which I hope maybe we can say yes in the
That's
future
awesome.
rounds.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations to you and the team. That's really exciting. So timing just worked out. And again, I will say, like, this is just such a great fit, and I'm so excited that you're here. I mean, when we started the virtual summit planning, AI, CX, what's coming next? Honestly, you were the first company I thought about of like trying to get you into this. So I'm glad that you accepted here. So before we get into it, can you give us a little bit of backstory on yourself because you've been in the ecosystem for a little bit? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been over the last decade. I've spent the first part of the decade of my decade in, I would say, in business building. So I've been building e-commerce businesses myself, and I was able to sell one of them, which that led me to have some early capital that I could deploy towards building software business in the ecosystem. But most recently, before Sienna, I built a company called Cartloop. So it was in a similar space where we built conversational commerce for text marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the early insights and a lot of the early hypotheses from Sienna actually stem from Cartloop. And Cartloop was heavily using humans as a way to personalize conversations. And we just, I think it was a great timing for us, and it was a great it was a great opportunity for us building Cartube, because I think if Cartube didn't exist, Siena wouldn't exist today. So all those insights, all that knowledge, we basically just put it back into Siena. And I'm a builder at heart. I'm really passionate about building, and specifically, I love building things that solve really hard, complex problems. And with Siena, it's probably the hardest thing. It's probably the biggest thing that I've ever built, and it's one of the hardest challenges that I've ever tackled. Because when we can segue into what is Empathic AI and what are we building, but building a really robust AI agent that works seamlessly across every single channel, and it gets the job done, and it speaks in the voice that you want it to speak, and basically checks every single checkpoint on your list. It's really, really hard. It's much harder than most people, when you think about AI, thinks it's just chat GPT, and you give it some data, and all of a sudden it can do that stuff. No, this is a whole different beast, because Siena and our AI is basically embedded in the help desk. So just imagine, everything has to work perfectly around the clock. Like the way it changes tickets, that like as simple as changing the ticket status, as simple as tagging. I'm not even talking about the core AI engine that has to work flawlessly and provide all the contextual information for the users. Everything has to work perfectly. And that took us it took us about a year to develop, but it was really intense. Like it was a period of nonstop feedback and iteration. And it's been really hard, because there's not a straight path. When you look back into the old days, when you build a system, you have systems that are quite easy. Like, you look at a typical CRM, and you have a set of features that every single CRM has. Now, when you think about building Siena and you think about building for the future, you have to let go of most of those paradigms. Whatever has been built before, it's not going to apply to what we're building today. And many of the things that exist today as paradigms in help desk, we're not even considering, like we're looking at them in a totally different way, because we believe the future is going to look different. And we think that customer support and customer success, what we call customer experience, it's going to have a different meaning in 5 years. It's not going to be the same thing that we look at through the lens of today.
Okay. So let's first take a step back and briefly explain, or just summarize the company for us and the product.
Sure.
Who and what is Siena?
Sure. So Siena AI is an empathic agent that works with commerce brands. We'd help them automate their customer service volume all across channels. So think about it as an agent that you train once, and once you do that, it's able to handle questions, answer questions, take actions, and then route the conversation at the right time when that's needed. So the best way to think about it is like an agent that's embedded in your help desk, and it has all the right tools and it has all the right knowledge to provide the perfect response on the right channel at the right time.
So it's not a replacement for the help desk, and I'm just clarifying for the audience, but it is it's a seat, an AI seat, honestly, that can be used in any. Well, actually, not any. You integrate with who right now?
So we integrate with all the top help desks. So we integrate with Customer, we integrate with Zendesk, we integrate with Gorgeous, and we integrate with some other help desks. Yeah, and Siena indeed it takes a seat, and it works as a seat. It works alongside a team. It does not replace help desks. We're 110% focused on building AI products that drive automation and drive retention, and we don't have any plans on building like help desk systems and ticketing systems.
So you talked about, I went through the website. I hope everyone sees this as well too. You talk about empathic AI. Describe that for us.
Empathic AI goes beyond the let's call it like the front-facing empathy for the user, right? That's almost natural. It's what Siena has been doing for a long time, meaning it connects with the user and understands the broader context of a conversation. That's just the first pillar, which is obvious that it's happening, and it's obvious that we're doing that. But empathic AI, it also looks at the broader customer service landscape and includes other stakeholders. So when we say empathic AI, we also account for the agents that are involved in the process. We also account for the business that's operating the customer service department, and we're also accounting for the team that's managing the AI tool. Empathy meaning you have to connect with all those stakeholders, and you have to design a platform that seamlessly integrates with all of those stakeholders. It's not just simply responding in a very personalized way that it's nice and fluffy and like warm with the customer, but it also connects with the broader team. Because ultimately, what I believe where we're gonna end up in the next few years is you'll have AI at the core, but then you're gonna have teams of people managing the AI, and you're gonna have teams that are gonna be able to derive insights from the AI. So we're shifting from a place where we're shifting from a place where customer service is just the fact of sending a message, closing the tickets. We're actually getting into a place where customer service is going to be insights, it's going to be automation efficiency, and it's going to drive business growth. Like for the first time, you're going to have, even with Siena, I'm happy to provide some insights. We look at the stats tracked through help desks, for example, and we see Siena driving meaningful revenue for our customers, right? And all that to say that Empathic AI encapsulates the relationship between all these stakeholders. That's what we're optimizing for. And obviously, the first stakeholder that we care about is the consumer. How do they feel? Because from one of our core theses is like, if we're doing a great job with the consumer and the consumer is happy and we solve their problem, the business is going to be happy and the business is going to grow, and everyone down the chain is going to be happy. So that's our first pillar. But then it's a broader conversation, like how do you go from just being empathic with the consumer, which I think everyone, when you think about Empathic AI, everyone thinks about, providing the right answer at the right time, with the right messaging and whatnot. But then you have to go downstream to actually think about how do you translate that into a touch points with the rest of the stakeholders.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, just to sum up, Empathic AI, it's almost like the method that we follow when it comes to building the AI ecosystem that we have set up to build. Because it's much more than just purely the fact of automating a conversation. That's just almost like a commodity. Like you just send a message, that's a commodity.
Has that always been? I mean, it just sounds to me that you're starting with empathy, like from the very, very beginning, and you're building your product around that. Has it always been that case? And was that taken from your previous experience? Like, how do you know that empathy should be our first principle and we'll build around that when it comes to customer service?
When we started Siena, all of the founding team had prior experience with e-commerce, and I think all of us were really we had a really good sounding board, knowing that if we're going to build this system, the AI that we're about to build has to be orders of magnitude better than anything else that was built before. Mm-hmm. And for us, if we couldn't pass that bar, we might as well not build anything, because there was already a million or like a gazillion different tools that enabled some level of automation. For us, the litmus test is, if I have a conversation with the system, would I enjoy it? Would I feel like at least I'm listened to and I'm heard? Obviously, is my problem being resolved? Because if you couldn't check those initial boxes, we might as well not do anything. So for us, it was important for the system to understand you and your broad, just think about what was the core problem with all the previous technology. It's like you just talk to something and it's just going to respond with a canned response. It doesn't listen to you. It doesn't really understand what you say. It's just some keywords that are being triggered and you get a response back.
Yeah.
And that's why people really never really consumers never really liked, and businesses never really saw that much value in the previous technology, because it's almost like you talk to a wall. For us, it was important to build something that let's say you're sending an email and you get a response back. For us, the litmus test from the beginning was, do you know that? Would you be able to tell that's an AI or that's a human? And if you'd be able to tell that's an AI, that's a problem. It means that we didn't do our job. And so that was like a non-negotiable for us. It was really, really important for this to feel real and to feel like you're talking to someone that listens and cares. Because at the end of the day, people, when they reach out for whatever reason, be it for guidance in using a product, or they want to cancel an order, or they want to make amendments to something, they have a problem. And if they feel like they're talking to a wall, their problem is only going to get exacerbated. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, I got a message from this random bot that doesn't really understand what I'm saying. It's just going to want even more to talk to a human. Like, okay, I'm really angry now. Help me here, connect with someone. So we wanted, even though in the beginning Siena was not that capable, because it had its limitations in the first few months. It's still, what was incredibly insightful for us to see is that even the first touch points were it might have said something like, okay, hey, hey Brian, I hear that you wanna get your order shipped faster. Okay, I'm not able to do this, but let me connect with my team, which is gonna get you in the next 24 hours. Even that would drive tremendous value. So again, it didn't fully resolve a conversation at that point, but the fact that they see that, okay, I'm getting a message from us, almost like a human, it gives me that sense of trust that, okay, I'm being heard. I know that someone is actually reviewing my message, and it feels much better than sending an email, not getting a response after
Yeah.
not even like 24 hours. So even that was a big insight for us in the beginning, because it just tells us that the empathy in this plays a much bigger impact than we initially thought.
So just to clarify, like from the consumer point of view, when dealing with your product, like they truly think that they were dealing with a human, and that's the goal from your side, or is it not? Or is it up to
So
the brand really to decide that? And I just kind of want to
so
push you on this. Like from a consumer perspective, do you want it to be that they're still thinking that they're talking to a human, but it's AI behind the scenes? Or is it okay to get to the point of they're interacting with an AI bot and the consumer knows that, but it's still a great experience, an empathetic experience?
the way the way so the way the majority of our customers have currently set up Siena is that they don't necessarily advertise the fact that it's an AI. Like it is not necessarily saying, "Hey, I'm
Yeah,
I'm Siena AI. I'm like an AI thing." But
yeah,
if someone asks, "Are you a bot?" It's gonna say, "Hey, I'm an intelligent agent. I'm gonna help you with your problem."
yeah,
Right. So that's what you can expect.
yeah.
So
That's
that being said, there are customers who, given their branding and given their like overall brand positioning and messaging, they might want to say upfront that this is an AI that has responded to a
right.
specific query. So that's perfectly like that's something that you can do from just from the settings. You can add like a signature or something.
Yeah.
So that's possible. But for the most part, um, some of the benefits of using AI is some of the benefits of using Siena is that it's so empathic that we've automated millions of conversations, and probably the number of conversations where people really felt like there just might be an AI is probably like below 0.1%. So it's like
That's
incredibly
amazing.
small.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, you talk about solving so many tickets already, and Sienna solving complex problems. Is there anything top of mind? And again, it's sorry to just like put you on the spot
Yeah.
here. Any complex problems that you've seen your the platform solve that you can share with us? That's like, wow, that's quite amazing that they solve something that complex.
You know, Obviously complexity is subjective. What do you call subject? I mean, for an agent, most of the queries are at the end of the day rather basic. Like let's say we're
Hmm.
talking about a refund, right? You analyze, you look at the policy, and then you compute like, okay, I should probably give them a refund. And that's like for a human, even that is pretty basic as
Yeah,
long as you know what you need to do, right? For a machine, for an AI, that becomes pretty complex. That whole process of issuing refund can become pretty complex because, well, let's just take a step back and understand what actually happens when someone sends you an email like, hey, I need a refund, right? Well, first of all, did they provide any reason for that? Like, just imagine people might say, hey, I just need a refund, right? You need to understand what's the reason for that. Okay. Then once you know the reason, you need to look at, okay, what's the order? Like, okay, what's the reason? Is this reason eligible for refund? Is it something that we offer refunds for?
hmm,
If not, then you have to have a counter strategy to tell them, well, we can do that, but like here's
right.
another alternative. Like I'm gonna give you a discount. Great. But let's say the topic or the criteria it is eligible, then you have to understand. Let's take a look at the order. Is the entire order subject to providing a refund, or it's only part of it? It's like a partial refund that we need to issue. Do we have a receipt? Like for example, if someone says um, on a receipt, sorry, do we have evidence for the fact that someone claims the order never arrived, or the product is damaged on arrival, or something like that? There's all those things, and now again, as an agent, it's quite easy because you can just say, yeah, send me an image. I want to see if the product is actually damaged, and they send you as an image, and then you take the right action. The challenge here is for the business to sit down and define what is the process. This is one of the challenges that we've seen is like most of the times, all these, unless we're talking about 100 plus agent teams, most of the mid-market teams of customer success teams, they don't have that much of a structure around how to deal with these processes. So then what they have to do is, they have to sit down and understand what is the process for dealing with refunds in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
And then having all that, Sienna is able to take that and he's able to perform, like apply reasoning, what we call to our core engine. So our core AI engine is applying reasoning, and it takes into account every single thing, including also the customer sentiment, right? Because sometimes you want to take a look at, hey, if this customer is incredibly angry and if they're a high value customer, I know that there's a policy for no refunds. Like we all know, but every customer support team knows that if we're talking about a high value customer that's really, really angry, you might just want to say, you know what, just give them a refund, right? All those things. The beauty of Siena is that you can literally put all those data points. Siena takes all that information and it's applying reasoning to determine the next best set of actions. So it might determine in real time that, okay, for this particular customer, given the fact that they have a lifetime value of $20,000 and they've been with us for like 10 years, I'm going to go ahead and provide a refund. So that's where the complexity is, but everything is happening in real time. So I'm not sure if I answer your question, what kind of complex problem is it solving, but it's something that wasn't possible before. There was no way, shape, or form when you're thinking about the kind of the branching tree systems where you define those flows. Because of the complexity and the nuances in customer service, there was no way, shape, or form that you could define and design a system like this. Now you can with Siena, and that's why customers, both consumers and businesses, are absolutely loving it because it gives you both the structure that you need to put in systems, but also you can essentially tell, hey, here's an exception. This is something that you can do as an exception, right? And it's so amazing because this all basically plays out in an infinite scale. Like you don't really know ahead of time what kind of customers are going to reach out. You don't know, but you know that if it's a really high value customer, you want to be in a position to give them a refund and not tell them, "I'm sorry, we don't have this, we don't have this policy and whatnot." So it's really important. And the forefront, like at the core, we integrate deeply with all the main tools that a business, specifically now in the retail and commerce space, needs. So we integrate with like CRMs, order management systems, subscription platforms. So Siena has all that knowledge. So Siena knows, okay, when was the last order placed? What is the total value of orders? So it knows everything. And that's why it's able to take those actions.
And just really briefly, from a high level, most likely you're connecting, obviously if you have, let's say a CRM, a help desk, something like customer, you're connecting on Klaviyo and Recharge to that. In this case, are you also then connecting Recharge to Siena, or is Siena already connected to? Okay. So you're connecting these right to Siena as well too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So on one hand, we integrate with the CRM, with the help desk, and that's the main channel. Like that's where messages flow in and flow out. And then on the other hand, we have the data platform that we've built. So that's where the data resides. That's how we basically make use of the customer data and the business data. Obviously, here it's important to know that from a business standpoint, you do want to connect. Like you do want to have as many connectors as possible. You mentioned like even Klaviyo, right? For example, you do want the AI to know that, hey, this customer, they received an SMS campaign 24 hours ago that mentioned this and that. And guess what? That information is going to be invaluable for the AI because if you don't connect Klaviyo, if you don't have that information available, then someone might say, hey, like just imagine like getting a ticket which says something kind of like seemingly random, like, oh, this doesn't work for me. And you're like, if the system is not really integrated, if the AI system is not deeply integrated, it's going to be like, okay, what is not working? You don't know what's going on. Exactly. But because you have the connection and you know what's the last campaign that was triggered in Klaviyo and all that, then it's like a 360-degree view, which is incredibly important.
Yeah. Now, I want to kind of move the conversation to outcomes because I think that what you've shared across your website and myself, that there's been a lot of success stories that have been just amazing so far in such a little short of time. Can you share some of those with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, every single company defines customer service success differently. So everyone has different indicators of success. We look at three things mainly at Siena. We look at automation rate, we look at routed rate, how many of the conversations were routed to the team, and what is the CSAT score? What is the actual quality of those conversations? Without giving names, you can obviously just check it out on Siena.cx, and we have a great customer section where you see case studies and all the numbers and everything. We have customers ranging from 50%. We have customers that are ranging in the automation rate from 50% to 80%. Even we have customers that surpassed 80. I think the best one was like 92% automation rate. Those are some incredible success stories because it just tells us that with those customers, they ended up they started using Siena from a place of always firefighting and always just doing the same old, like just have to, you just have to run on the hamster wheel, like just answer tickets, but then there's no real outcome besides that. Now what they're in a position to do now is basically take a step back and they just redesign their whole CX department. Like they're looking at how can they not just do support, like customer support, but how can we increase the customer experience overall? And the impact is absolutely like tremendous. We're talking about companies that are currently, if previously they had to maintain and they had to answer 100% of their tickets, now they only have to worry about 20 or 30% of those. That's a dramatic difference. It's almost like overnight you have 70% less traffic, and you can take that time to think about how do I improve the overall customer experience for my team. So that's only that's the impact on the business side, right? That's just on the business side. Now, when you look at the customer facing impact, one of the big things that we saw, and we're looking at ways to track this better, but it's a huge increase in CSAT. And when I say CSAT, I'm speaking about like reviews. So we're looking at companies that leverage Siena, and again, this is public information. You can look it up on our website, and then just look for reviews, and you'll see that consistently they're able to garner really good reviews because of the impact Siena is providing within their customer service department. So if previously you would see reviews like, oh, this is not a good company because I sent them an email, they couldn't help me, and I had an issue, and no one got back to me. Now you have reviews that say, wow, like I just sent him an email and it was immediately resolved. Yeah. And it's just incredible to see that because it doesn't get more tangible than that. Ultimately, I think business efficiency is great. Like everyone wants to improve their efficiency, and customer service leaders, they look at, like reducing costs and all that. But I think that the greater impact it's far more than that. I think it's the actual consumer impact that just completely changes the way consumer interacts with the business. And again, these are rather, some things are subjective, like the trust. Like you cannot really measure trust. I'm not able, as a CEO of Siena, to tell you we've increased the trust of the customer, like of the consumer. That would be a stretch. But we do see that customers are way more empathic on their own, coming back to the business and the kind of conversations they have. Because guess what? Like who doesn't love to work with a business or to buy from a business that gets back to you in time, in like seconds or like in minutes, as opposed to like waiting 1, 2, 3 days. And I just want to like give you, I shared this example because it's like so trivial, but like it has such a huge impact. I don't know if it ever happened to you, but even myself recently, I placed an order with a company, and for whatever reason, I paid with Apple Pay, and it was the wrong shipping address. So for like Apple Pay has that shipping address, and I wanted a different one. And I reached out to them. I'm like, hey guys, I just made an error. No one reached out to me, obviously. Like I waited like 2 days, and the order was shipped to the wrong address, right? And then I had to go through like this whole process, like multiple days of like showing them like, hey, I don't live here, and it was like multiple days of back and forth for like a very trivial thing. Just, hey man, like I just need to change my address. It's this right. That's something that Siena is currently doing like without any problem. So for us, for our customers, having the possibility to set up Siena in a way that catches all those emails in real time. So every time someone places an order and it's, for example, the wrong email, the wrong shipping address, Siena makes amendments in real time. So it can, if it doesn't have the address, it's going to ask the customer, hey, where do you want to have it shipped? And it's going to make that action both in the CRM, it's going to make it in the like a orders platform, it's going to make it in the subscription platform. And that's it's a trivial example, but the beauty is that it's happening in real time. So the customer doesn't have to wait over the weekend if it's on Friday, like it's happening right then and there. And because most of our customers use like third party like fulfillment centers, the order gets amended just in time, so it reaches the
Right.
fulfillment center. So that's where the power of AI. I mean, it doesn't really matter like how many agents you have on your team. It's really hard to beat that just because
Right.
it's real time. It's 24/7. And that's just a simple example. This is something that I've been through recently, and I was like, man, I'm just wasting hours of my life with just something as trivial as that. Now with Sienna, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So let's end on one thing. I want to give a takeaway to the audience members. I think what would be really interesting is your take on, let's say, a customer experience, customer support, managers of teams of agents, right? If they actually want to take that step to start experimentation with AI agents, what's the what's the narrative that you would propose to them? Like how should they be talking to their upper management, VPs, CEOs, on why they should take these next steps to kind of experiment with the AI agent with their current
Yeah,
support?
yeah. I think as any business decision, everything has to stem from a need or from a desire to do something differently or better or improve a system or something. I think the biggest pitfall here, I'm just gonna like divert for a
Yeah.
second, is just like trying to do AI, like implementing AI just because it's AI and it's because it's everyone is using it. I don't think that's the best approach. My approach would be try to sit down and understand what needs to be improved. Is it are we trying to improve efficiency? Are we trying to improve the overall experience that we provide for our customers? What are the top three pain points that we're trying to solve here?
Right.
AI is just a technology. AI should always be applied towards the broader business goals. That's what I tell everyone. Once you define that, I would assign, obviously, vet all the tools out there in the market. That's really important to understand if the tools that you're assessing match the goals that you have set up for that initial, like for the initial project, be it like, again, efficiency or CSAT or just overall better experience, significantly reducing waiting times and all that. And then the third point is assigning an owner or like a directly responsible individual with KPIs. So just the way, these days with every single, like for example in marketing teams, you have a person that's owning email marketing channel, or like maybe you have a team, but you typically have someone who at the end of the day will look and say, okay, this month we've generated $5 million through email, like as a channel.
Mm-hmm.
That's a KPI. That's a KPI that is known by the whole company. It's tracked by everyone. I would apply the same, and this is what I see. What we've seen great success with some of our customers, where they apply the same mindset for leveraging AI. So what they do, they set hard KPIs around AI performance. So they would do something like, okay, by Q2, we want to be at 50% automation rate. We want to be at below 10% handoff or routed rate, and we want to be at a CSAT score of X on a scale of 1 to 5 with Sienna or with AI. That is simply that is the process that I would follow. So first,
Yeah.
assess, understand what what are the top three priorities that you would want to transform or you want to add transformation into your team. Second, obviously find a solution that can fit with then can check all those boxes. And third, put those KPIs behind the initiative and have someone own those KPIs. That would be it.
That's awesome. Well, again, Andre, thank you so much for your time. This has been really quick 30 minutes, but it could have lasted much longer. I wish you all the best. And I think the audience here, please check out Sienna. They're doing really incredible things.
Sienna.cx, guys. Thank you.